This week's episode is sponsored by the Brilliant Futures Institute. Instead of the 10 years that it took us to do something, it'll take them 6 months. It'll take them a year because they read the same books, they've watched a ton of videos, and they do. The reason why I do this podcast is so one more person will understand how vital it is to pursue excellence and preeminence. Welcome to the Preeminence podcast.
You cannot be a courageous leader if you're not vulnerable.
Your legacy is every life you've touched.
The only thing that changes our life long term is when we raise our standards.
Now is the time to take risk.
The way it's always been done isn't necessarily the way it should be done.
What is your dream? What do you think 2050, 2100 is going to look like?
The most incredible sort of mystery, I think, is now the question of what comes next.
Stay hungry, stay foolish.
Welcome to the Preeminence podcast. I'm your host, Matthew J. Peters. Visit preeminence.tv to learn more about how to create a preeminent presence for your business, organization, or personal brand. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or just ask Alexa to play the Preeminence podcast. Today, I want to talk to you about something that's kind of been heavy on my heart. You know, that there's a lot of times we feel like as we move forward, we need to let some things go. But there's other times where we need to hang on to something. If there's something you're doing right now that is going to add to your legacy, then you need to keep doing it. Sometimes we feel like we just got to throw everything off because it's getting difficult. It's slow going and we're not getting the results we thought we would right away. And so we quit. And so many of us quit 3 feet from gold. You may have heard of the person who bought all this equipment for mining and they just started mining and it kept on going and they're running dry on their resources and they quit and they sold off all of their mining equipment for pennies on the dollar just to get rid of it, get out of this thing. So the next people that went through this mine looked into it and they saw where this gold should be and they started digging. And of course, the saying is, you're quitting 3 feet from gold. Here's the thing. I feel that honesty is the best policy. And last week, I really didn't feel like doing another Preeminence podcast. I had the recording, but I didn't want to put it out. There's something that was stopping me. And the thing that was stopping me is, why am I doing this? Why do I bother doing 117, going on 118 episodes? What am I doing this for? And the reason why I'm doing this, and the thing I had to convince myself of, it's worth putting this content out here because I truly believe that we need to be preeminent in our field. If we are not, we are going to be lost. You see, we may have started out a few years ago when there was a barrier of entry of thousands of dollars or technology or education. But really right now, the things that we're doing, the things that you're doing, go on YouTube and you'll see someone half your age doing the same thing. They're going to watch what you're doing and springboard off of that with their new ideas. They're going to bring in new media. They're going to bring in their talents and their time. They're not married or they don't have a significant other. They don't have children. They've got plenty of time. And so what they do is they pass us up with, instead of the 10 years that it took us to do something, it'll take them 6 months. It'll take them a year because they read the same books. They've watched a ton of videos and they do. Like these filmmakers who will spend $100,000 to $200,000 for their education to learn how to make films. And then when they get out of school with $200,000 in debt, going to NYU or the film schools out in California, and they have all this debt and now they're looking for a job and they end up shooting wedding videos, making a couple $100 on a weekend. They will never get out of that debt. Whereas you have kids who pick up an iPhone, pick up a other smartphone, and they just start shooting videos and they've got some clever ideas and they put them up on YouTube, they put them up on Facebook, they get thousands of views, then they get people who want to sponsor them, they want them to show their products and they start getting paid. They're 10 years old, 8 years old, 12 years old. From there, they just keep doing and getting mentorship and keep doing and producing and getting feedback, and they pass you. All those years you thought you were going to be safe. You're not safe. Preeminence is what you need to be pursuing. If you're not, you will be passed. This is just, I'm talking about kids passing you up. You have your kids, if you have kids, you're going to want to make sure they pursue preeminence. They're going to pass you at some point. They just have the energy, they have the ingenuity, they are more tech savvy than you are, but you need to keep moving forward and keep going deeper into your craft. We're talking about children here. We're talking about people who are younger than you, people who are at the same age as you, people maybe who are even older than you. They just put in the work. They just do the work. But I'm telling you that with artificial intelligence replacing more and more jobs all the time, you have millions and millions of people graduating from Asia and India and China. They're speaking English. If you're reading this or listening to this or watching this, you speak English. And more of the population is graduating from college and willing to work really hard, willing to work the long hours. They're going to be competing with you. They're going to be competing with you. And then you have robotics. Robotics are going to be taking over a lot of jobs too. So with automation, robotics, AI, and more people competing for the same jobs, why are you going to stand out? Why would someone choose to hire you than run a program? Why would they choose to hire you than find some robot that can do your actions? They can literally now just watch your thinking process and determine how you're making those decisions and the movements you're doing. Playing the piano, yes, a robot can play the piano. Playing drums, yes, a robot can play the drums. I even saw that there's an app now that you put on your phone, connect it to your camera, and the app will tell you how to move your camera to take the best picture. With artificial intelligence across millions of other photos that are beautiful photos, and it tells you how to do it like that. How are you not going to be obsolete? It's because you need to focus on your thing and do it better than anyone else and become preeminent in your field. Communicate that out to the world and help more people get out there into more groups. And you need to serve. You need to serve like no one else. Preeminence is something you earn every day. You can be passed up like this. You just need to focus on your one thing, expanding, deepening, communicating, and having that long-term vision. Don't go for the short-term stuff. Go for the long-term vision. The reason why I do this podcast is so one more person will understand how vital it is to pursue excellence and preeminence. Do the work. Focus on your one thing. There's a reason why I'm repeating this. You need to do this now, because in the next 20 years, where are you going to be when just about everything is automated? And if you want to learn how to be even more effective, if you want to know exactly what you're here to do, what your identity is, what your purpose is, what your mission is, what are you going to do every day, and what your grand vision is, and work on your life's work instead of just trying to chase what the trends are. If you want to know more about that, go to Elevation 10. That's elevation10.com. The Elevation 10-week program will help you through that. This is my flagship program. I highly recommend you become a part of that if you want to be preeminent in your marketplace. The people who are doing this right now are making tremendous strides. Tremendous strides. I look forward to seeing you next week on the Preeminence Podcast. Thank you for listening to the Preeminence Podcast. Subscribe to hear powerful interviews and insights each week automatically downloaded the moment they go live. Share this episode with your team, your friends, and post it on social media. Let us know your comments and suggestions for the show at m@ascend.net. That's the letter M at ASYND.net.